All right, everybody, welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today that technical writers and documentation specialists and IT folks are really going to want to listen to. This one came from senior technical writer Kurt Robbins.
Yeah, this is a hot topic.
It really is. I think it's relevant to just about anybody working today, but especially to folks in those fields. And that is AI. So the report that we're looking at is called Workforce Readiness in the Era of AI, Executive Brief, and it's put out by the Institute for Corporate Productivity, or I4CP, basically like a snapshot of how AI is impacting companies and employees right now in this very moment.
Yeah, and I mean, really the focus is on, generative AI, like all the things that we're hearing about ChatGPT and all the different ways that businesses are figuring out how to use it.
Well, and they're figuring it out fast. Like one of the stats that really jumped out at me was that in 2023, only 22% of HR teams were using generative AI. And now just a year later in 2024, it's jumped to 41%.
Yeah, that's almost up.
Yeah, almost double. So that's a huge increase. And it really does show you that this is not a fad. This is something that is,
This is here to stay.
yeah, absolutely. And the report talks about these two kind of gaps that are emerging as a result of this rapid adoption of AI. One is the skills gap, which I think we can all relate to, that
Right.
employees just, maybe don't have all the skills they need yet to work effectively alongside AI.
Well, it's like even if your company gives you the best AI tools in the world, you still got to know how to use them, right? You got to know what to do with them, how to interpret the output.
Yeah, and then the other gap is the integration gap, which is kind of on the companies where
Right.
they're not really sure how to implement this technology effectively across the organization.
Yeah, they might have bought a tool, but they don't really have a strategy.
Exactly. They don't have a strategy for it. And, it's interesting because the report actually says that companies that are truly AI ready are already seeing a difference in their performance. Like they're outperforming their competitors.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might think, well, that's obvious, right? If you're adopting new technology, of course you're going to do better.
Right.
But it's more about how are they using it strategically.
Yeah, what are they actually doing?
Exactly. And I think that's what's really interesting, especially for folks like us.
So let's dig into that. What are these kind of like AI trailblazers doing that the rest of us can learn from?
Well, I think one of the key takeaways is that they're not just throwing tech at the problem, they're really taking a very deliberate and strategic approach to adopting AI. And one of the things that the report talks about is this 5-stage AI maturity model.
Ooh, the maturity model.
Yeah.
I love a good maturity model.
Yeah, this is really helpful for understanding, where a company falls on the spectrum in terms of their AI adoption.
It's like, are you ignoring AI? Are you prohibiting it? Are you researching it? Are you experimenting with it?
Right, and the final stage is operationalizing and scaling.
Right, where it's just part of how you do business?
It's in your DNA, and that's where, we see that those companies that are in those final stages that have really integrated it, they're the ones that are seeing that market performance difference.
So it's not enough to just kind of dabble in AI. You really have to have a plan, a strategy for how you're going to roll it out across the organization.
Yeah.
I'm curious, where do you think most companies fall on this spectrum right now?
That's a great question. And you know what I'd love to hear from our listeners too? Where do you think your company falls? Are you leading the charge, or are you playing catch up, or are you still trying to figure out what AI even is?
Yeah, think about it.
Give that some thought.
Where do you fall on that AI maturity model? It can feel a little overwhelming, right? Like, how do we actually do this? But the report does highlight some companies that are doing really cool things with AI. Like they give these examples of Moderna, McCormick, and company Unilever. They're kind of leading the pack in terms of figuring out how to use AI effectively.
And it's not just about the tech, right? They're really focused on the people. Like, how can we use AI to empower our employees to make them more productive, to make their jobs more satisfying?
Yeah, it's like giving your employees superpowers.
Right, exactly. Like with Moderna, they're actually encouraging their employees to experiment with generative AI. Like they gave them access to OpenAI's GPTs and provided training. And the result is they've got over 400 custom chatbots that have been developed by employees across all these different departments.
So they're not just using AI, they're basically turning every employee into a citizen developer.
Right? And McCormick and Company, they did something similar. They implemented this AI-powered chatbot called Herbie to handle all those basic HR inquiries.
Like the stuff that takes up so much time.
Exactly, and it's freed up their HR team to focus on more strategic work.
And probably made the employees happier too, because they're getting their questions answered faster.
Right. It's a win-win, and it's not just about big companies with big budgets either.
Right.
The report makes it clear that even small organizations can take steps to become more AI ready.
So for those of us who maybe don't have a dedicated AI team, where do we start?
Well, I think it starts with education, right? Taking the time to understand what AI is, what it can do, how it might be relevant to your specific work.
So like just start learning.
Yeah, there are tons of free resources available online, articles, videos, courses.
And it's so true what you said before about this being more than just about the technical skills. It's about having that future-ready mindset.
Right, because the tools are going to change. The specific tools that we're using today might be obsolete tomorrow. But if you have that mindset of adaptability and you're willing to learn and grow with the technology, then you're going to be in good shape.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. You know, one of the things that really struck me in the report was that the employees who are the most fearful of being replaced by AI are actually the ones who work at organizations that are already scaling AI.
That's interesting, right? You'd think it would be the other way around.
Right, like you think the people who are working at companies that are behind the curve would be more worried, but it's actually the opposite. And I think it speaks to this idea that, if companies are implementing AI really quickly without clearly explaining how it's going to impact employees' jobs,
Yeah, without that communication.
then of course people are going to be scared.
Right, they're seeing it firsthand. They're seeing what the AI can do, but they're also aware of its limitations.
And maybe they haven't been reassured that their skills are still valuable.
Right. It's about building trust. It's about communication. It's about creating a culture of collaboration rather than competition.
So it sounds like it's really important for companies to be very transparent about how they're using AI and what it means for employees.
Absolutely. And to involve employees in the process.
Right, don't just spring it on them.
Right. Exactly. Make them feel like they're part of this AI journey. So we've talked about education. We've talked about future-ready skills. We've talked about creating a supportive environment. What else can individuals do to kind of take control of their own AI destiny?
Yeah, like how can we make sure that we're not just, victims of this AI revolution, but we're actually shaping it?
Right. Well, don't be afraid to experiment. Like I said, there are so many tools and resources available, and a lot of them are free. Download a chatbot builder, play around with a code generator, see what these tools can do.
Just get your hands dirty.
Yeah. You'll be surprised how quickly you can learn by just doing,
I love that. It's about turning that fear into curiosity.
right? Turning that skepticism into exploration.
Yeah, and this is a journey, right? This isn't a one-time thing. The AI landscape is constantly changing.
It's evolving all the time.
So it's not about finding the right answers today. It's about developing that mindset of continuous learning and adaptation.
That's so important. And I think that's a great segue into one of the key quotes from the report that really resonated with me. It says, "The rapid pace of change requires that companies become masters of workforce planning in order to be high-performance organizations."
So we have to think about the skills that we'll need tomorrow, not just the skills that we have today.
Exactly. And that puts the onus on both the individuals and the organizations.
Right. It's a partnership.
It's a two-way street.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners, to all those technical writers and documentation specialists and IT professionals out there who are, maybe feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all this AI talk?
I think the message is clear. The future of work is here, and it's powered by AI, but it's not a threat. It's an opportunity. If we can embrace a mindset of curiosity and adaptability and continuous learning, then we can not only navigate this new landscape, but we can thrive in it.
We can totally rock it.
Absolutely.
So how about this? Instead of just talking about AI in the abstract, let's get really specific. Let's talk about how AI is already impacting the world of technical writing and documentation.
Ooh, yeah, that's a great idea.
Because I think that's where a lot of our listeners are probably feeling the most anxiety.
Right, like, is AI going to take my job?
Exactly. So let's dig into that. Let's talk about the specific tools and technologies that are emerging and how technical writers can use them to their advantage.
It's like AI is really just putting a spotlight on the skills that have always mattered, right?
Yeah, being able to learn and adapt and communicate clearly, those have always been important. Like AI is kind of turning up the volume on those skills. If you were already good at something, AI can help you be even better. But if you were struggling, well,
It might expose those weaknesses a little bit.
exactly. So it's really important to be proactive. Don't wait for your company to force AI on you. Start exploring these tools now. Start learning.
Yeah, take ownership of your own professional development. And I think it's also important to think about what's holding you back. What are those skills or knowledge gaps that are maybe preventing you from embracing AI more fully?
Once you identify those gaps, you can start to fill them.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI and workforce readiness.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you learned something new and maybe even got a little bit inspired to take action. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.